I live in one of the most expensive places in the world. So expensive that most people can't afford to buy a house in the Bay Area. Hell, most people can't even afford to rent a house by themselves. So you got a whole bunch of people all staying in the same living space just so that they could have shelter. But they say there's one place that we can stay for free. And that's your lane. That's my lane. It's not an easy place to stay. That's why most people won't stay there. We make the mistake of dipping into someone else's lane, trying to take their inventory, talk about their life, their mistakes, their relationships. We try to control them, when really we don't have any control over them. The only person we truly have control over is ourselves. And even that's hard. So hard, in fact, that we don't have time to be talking about other people's lives or trying to control them. We have to stay in our lane. Back in the day, there was a Stoic philosopher named Epictetus, who later influenced the founders of cognitive behavioral therapy. Epictetus taught us about the dichotomy of control, which is basically that things fall in one of two categories: things we can control and things we cannot control. Things we can control is our thoughts, our behaviors, our opinions, our perspectives, and our responses. Things we cannot control is basically everything else. Epictetus was born a slave. His slave owner broke his legs. So Epictetus taught us that we can't even control our own bodies, which is also true for many of us. See, we could watch what we eat, we could exercise, try to get enough sleep, go to the doctor, but at the end of the day, if we're gonna get sick, sometimes we're just gonna get sick. We can't control the outcome. We can only control our effort. So the things you can't control is external people, places, and things. The external conditions of our lives. We can't control those things any more than we can control the waves of that ocean. Doesn't make sense to go out there and try to control the waves of the ocean, but we can learn to surf. We have to learn to surf the waves of our lives. You can't control what happens to you, only the way in which you respond rather than react. We live in such a fast-paced society. Most of us are struggling with burnout, feel like we don't have enough energy to handle all of the daily tasks in our lives. And if that's true for you, then maybe you should take a look at the dichotomy of control. Take a look at whether or not you're not staying in your lane. Take a look at if you're trying to control things that you have no control over. We waste so much energy and time focusing on things that are not in our lane. People come to me all the time and they say, my son or my spouse or my daughter or my father or my coworker or my boss, it's getting me so upset. What should I do? I can only tell you what I would do. I try to stay in my lane. It's not about what your son or your daughter or your husband or your wife or your coworker's doing. It's really about the way in which you respond to them. It's about your feelings surrounding that. It's about your behaviors. You have to go back to what you can control. You can't control them, and you can't wait for them to change before you allow yourself to feel better. It's empowering when we learn to take control. So if you're on this endeavor, this journey, you're on this road to peace, then I urge you to learn how to stay in your lane. Recognize what you can control and what you can't control. We have to learn. It takes a lot of practice. It's a simple concept. It's not easy to implement on a day-to-day basis. How to stay in our lane. Every time we catch ourselves dipping into someone else's lane, we gotta catch it and say, oops, there I go again. There I go again, trying to control that which I cannot control. I'm wasting so much time and so much energy that could be better spent on my own goals, on my own emotional regulation. Gotta stay in your lane. And what kind of things are in your lane? Letting go of the banana, that's in your lane. Anger management, that's in your lane. Emotional regulation, that's in your lane. Who you choose to be in a relationship with, that's in your lane. Who you choose to put up healthy boundaries with, that's in your lane. Putting in the work, that's in your lane. Reading, writing, meditating, focusing on your breathing, what you eat, whether you exercise, those things are in your lane too. We do all of that so that we can obtain more peace inside. Because if we have more peace inside, then we can project more peace outside. But let me know, do you struggle staying in your lane? How does it affect your mental health, your energy levels, when you start to dip into someone else's lane? Timber approves this message. Here we go. My mind keeps racing. There's always something. I can't get a break. Just leave me alone. I can't trust anyone. I'm such a screw up. I'm gonna die. Don't tell them. No one sees me. People don't. They won't understand. I don't get already judged. Not gonna stop. Just so sad. Energy. I hate crying. I just want to die. I feel so nervous. Just one more time. I always see something down. Everyone is so incompetent. So alone. I don't believe in it. I just want this to stop. Why am I like this? I'm just so angry. Breathe. 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 Everything's gonna be okay. You're exactly where you're supposed to be.